Hi, my name is DJ Anderson, and I will be walking you through the Floriani Total Control Express software program. Hopefully to this point you have already installed the software and activated it, and are now just starting to get used to what it is and what it can do. In this lesson, we will go over the basics of the program, how it's laid out, how you navigate through it, and hopefully you'll pick up a lot of useful information. When you load the software for the first time, when you open it up, you will notice that you have the My Floriani Today page. This is the page that always opens whenever you launch the program. I like to take a few minutes and explain what is available to you. You will notice that right off the bat you have FTC Express Education Center. Right now you just see a little box that has one video showing in here. There'll be more probably at the point when you install the software. And what you can do is, this is where we're going to post all of our videos for training on how to use features of the software. So this is where you'll go. You'll just click on the link and it will take you online where you'll be able to view that video, and we'll have a number of them listed inside of here. On the left hand side you will see some links. So if you are working with software and you experience an issue, maybe you have a second computer that you need to load it on, we do have a link right here to our software support. And our software support, when it comes to activations and everything, it is done online, and you can click on this link and it will open up a browser, and you'll see it takes us to the support page. You'll see this green button right here that says click here for software support ticket. If you click on that, you will be taken to the form where you'll select what software program you have, and you will put in your serial number. And it's very important that you put your serial number in, because especially if you're looking for another activation, because we have to have that in order to do that, in order to give you another activation. So always make sure you include your serial number, and that serial number is found on it comes in the disc that you received. On the inside, when you open it up, it'll be a little sticker above the disc itself, and you will enter that number into here, and then you'll just fill out the form. And if you have a question or a comment, or if you need another activation, you just need to write us a little note here at the bottom and hit submit, and that goes right to our tech support people. You will get a confirmation that has been delivered, and they will reply to you by email. And you can always call the office, the R&K Distributing office, and we do have people in-house that can help you get up and going as well. And so there's just a couple different ways that you can access your software support. And go back into the My Floriani Today page. The next link is click here to see our current specials. We always offer specials. They're available through your local dealer, and so we have a link here so that you can always keep up to date with what we have to offer at the time. Next is a link to go to our education center, where you can go and you can actually look at what events we have coming up, and we have a calendar legend here. You can do some searching by state and what type of event, and you can find out if we have anything coming in your area. Go back to the software here, and we also have a link right here for stabilizer support. This is a great tool for all of those who use Floriani products. A lot of times we'll be doing a project and we don't know quite which stabilizer we need to use, or we might have questions about a stabilizer, and this is the best place to go for that help. You can see there is even some videos that are posted done by Kay Brooks, and we also have a link in here to go directly to ask a question. So it says right here, if you have a question that isn't answered here on this page, you can ask it here. And I have my pages down right now, so I'll have to see what's going on there. But you'll be able to fill out a form and actually submit a question. And and somebody will be able to answer that question for you. So that is the Ask Kaylee, and it's a great resource again for any questions about stabilization, needles, things like that. A thread, and Ask Kaylee is a great resource for getting answers to those questions. So back to the My Floriani Today page. You also have links down at the bottom of the page for like creating a new design, opening a design, open a recently used design, which basically is if you've opened up a design the last time you had the software open, it will open that one back up just by clicking the button. What's new, and the help resource. And I always, whenever I'm starting out and this page comes up, I always click on create a new document, because what that does, it will actually put a document, open up one in your software. If you don't do that, you have to go back up and open a document. So let me go ahead and create a new document. You can see that it put design 1 up here, and now I'm ready to work inside of the software, depending on what I want to do. So, but before we do anything like that, I want to run through what options you have inside of Total Control Express. It's a very neat program that will help you to get creative and to produce some designs. It's a very exciting package to get started using Floriani software. And up at the top, just like any other program, you have your menu options like File, where if I click on it, I can do open a design, save a design, close a design, import artwork into the software, load a backdrop image. I can print, view a print preview. Those are basic file menu options. It'll even show you some of the designs where the last ones you opened up in the software. And you can also exit to close the software from the file menu. If you go to edit, this has to do with all the editing features of the software. So you can undo, redo, cut, copy, and paste things, a paste special option, insert things, delete, line things up, access the properties, group and ungroup. Very standard editing features. Under view, you will see that you have a few options here like zooming, panning, which allows you to move the screen, your work area, 3D view, so you can see realistic view of your designs. You can access the grid, turn it on and off. There's ruler, hooping, like selecting hoops and things like that. Changing the background color of the software. So right now the background color is white. I can change it to a different color by clicking on here. I can even put a fabric in the background. It's kind of up to you, but we also do have an icon for that right here. And now we'll go to tools. You have an auto based. You have some optimization features. When you have a design or object selected, these become available. Color sort, and you can go into the preferences, which is where you would change things in the software, and it will always remember those changes when you open up the software the next time. And I will show you that because we do have an icon for that as well. Toolbars, these are the different toolbars in the software. Like for instance, you have this toolbar right in here. You have this toolbar. You have this left hand side toolbar, design colors, your thread chart, and you can see that all of them are open right now. Like right here, this is the slow redraw. If I uncheck that slow redraw goes away. If I click the icon, or if I go back to toolbars and select it, it'll come back. So you can turn some menus off or toolbars off if you want. The next one is help. Help is where you go, like right here, help in Floriani. If I click on that, that opens up the manual that comes with the software. And you will see when you open up the manual, and this is a great resource. So if you have any questions on how a tool or function works, you really want to come to the manual. And again, that's help in Floriani. and it opens that up. And you will see on the left hand side you have some sections like getting started, learning the basics, viewing designs. If it has a plus symbol next to it, you can click on that. You can click on those plus symbols, and when you click a page, it will go to that page when you click on a link. And so, like right here, learning the basics, getting to know the workspace, it just kind of explains. Here's tools on the toolbar with explanations for them. Design palette, sequence view, how it works, the properties panel. So it's going to help you run through a lot of what's available in the software and how to use different tools. So it's a great resource. Under help, you also have My Floriani Today, which is that screen that pops up every time you open the software. It's just a way for you to access that again if you close it. So that was Help in My Florian Today. Help in Support Ticket. This will take you right to where you need to fill out a support ticket for software support. So that's a great link, and that's just Help Support Ticket. License Activator. What this is this allows you to actually register your software and activate it, and you fill out the form, and you need to do that in order to save designs. So hopefully when you install it, you go through that process, but you can also always go back to it as well. Check for updates. This is a box that will allow you to check to see if there's any updates for the software. So it'll take you to where the latest version is. So you can see that. Go back here. Under Help, you also have About, and if you click the About page, that will just show you what build number you're in. So that is your basic functions or menu items, and you will notice that most of the things that you see underneath the Edit, View, Tools, and Help, there's usually icons for them. So most of the stuff is available right on the page or inside the software to begin with. And so now that you know those little things, let's go through a few of the tools. So whenever you want to create a new design, you can just select this new icon and it will open up a new design window. So you can see that I had design 1 open. Now I have design 2. If I hit it again, I'll have design 3. So I can have multiples open. I can close them by hitting the little X. If I close all of them, you can see that the page goes gray, and I can click on new design again and it'll open up a new design page. And if you want to open a design that's on your computer where you navigate to it, you click this open, and then I can go right to a design, hit open, and it will open that design up into the software. Save, we have a save icon. If I hit save, since I haven't saved this one before, well, actually I opened it up, so it just saved right over the top of it. But if you've never saved it and you're creating from scratch, it's kind of like going to save as, where you'll be able to choose where you want it to save to. Print preview is a great feature. When you hit print preview icon, it opens up a little preview window that's a little bit different than your design page. You can see that all the properties and stuff that was on the right hand side are now hidden, and you do have a couple options. You can go right to print. You can see that I have a little arrow for next, so if I hit that little arrow, you'll see that it'll go to my color sequence guide or my color analysis. I can go back to that front page. There's even this icon right here, 3:2. I usually have that checked because that'll show me that I have 2 pages that will print out. One shows the design, one shows the color sequence for my machine. You do have a settings button where you can actually choose to, let's say you want this to print all on one page. You can do that by clicking this checkbox and hit OK, and you'll notice that now everything is on that one page. And to get out of it, you can just hit close and you'll go right back into your design page. So the print preview is a very helpful tool. You'll use that if if you want to print out a color sequence guide. You also have some other functions like cut, copy and paste right here. So if you have an item selected, you can copy and paste it. So like this, I have this leg selected, I could copy, paste it. You'll notice that I have a duplicate now. I could also hit the cut and that will remove it. You have an undo, that'll bring that back, a redo. You can undo as many times as you want, redo as many times as you want. This is your properties, which opens up the properties box. I don't have anything selected, so it's blank right now. But if I select something, it knows that it's a running stitch, and it gives me the options that I have for that running stitch, like changing stitch length, applying tie-in and tie-off stitches if I want, resizing it under the transform tab. It just once you select something like this one, it is a satin stitch, so it gives me a whole new options. So it's based on what you select is what will be available in the properties box. You also have your program preferences here, and that opens up this dialog box, which allows you to do things like color match. Whenever you load a design, if you wanted to always utilize Floriani polyester colors, you can check this box and choose that, and no matter what thread chart was used when a design was created, it will automatically convert those colors to Floriani colors. You can uncheck that if you don't want it to do that, just by unchecking this box right here. And you can tell it what machine format is the one that you utilize the most. Like if you use a Brother or Baby Lock, you might use PES as your machine format. And it doesn't really do anything for you, but it will kind of tell you up top here, at the top of the software, it'll say machine format. It's just something that is kind of there. Environment tab, you have a view tab. So whenever you select a color or select something, an object, it will highlight it in this blue color, and you can change that to different colors. You have your grid settings and auto-based settings to auto-based around a design, and color sort. So that is your preferences. I'm going to hit OK. And I did say that if you select an object, it'll be blue. And you can see how that is. That was in my preferences. I'm going to go back to that just to kind of show you. Under the View tab, I'm going to change it to green and hit OK. Now if I select it, you can see that it highlights with a green color. So just wanted to point that out. Some people have a preference in what they like it to highlight in. So that's where you would access that. You do have zoom options here. My favorites, if I zoom down to 25%, you can see that's pretty small. But my favorite zooms are zoom to fit. I use that all the time because if you use zoom to fit, it makes it as large as it can be, the design inside your work area. So that's a very handy tool. Also, if you select something and you want to edit it, the next option is to zoom to selection, and that'll make that object as big as it can be. So those are some of my favorite zooming options. You do have this slow redraw icon, and when it's selected, and it is by default, but it has this color bar on here, this slow redraw bar, that I can hit this play button, simulate sewing, and you can see that this moves, and it's actually showing how this design is going to stitch out. I can hit pause, I can go in reverse and pause that, or I can just grab this slider and slide it as fast or as slow as I want to. This is a very helpful tool to let you know how the design is going to stitch out. For those of you who like to edit designs and have a little bit of control, it definitely is useful. Now you'll also notice there's a little slider right here that controls the speed in which it does the slow redraw. So you can see I have it, there's three settings. There's a low, medium, and a fast. And if I slide this to the left and I hit play, you'll notice that it will go slower. If I slide it into the middle, it starts picking up and going a little bit faster. If I slide it all the way to the right, you can see that it goes even faster. So you can control the speed in which it simulates that stitch out. You also have, now you start with your creation tools. So this software is based off of artwork. I'm going to select a new document really quick. This is an artwork tool that you can use to create shapes. You can see as I'm just kind of creating a shape here. That was left clicking. If I right mouse click now, you can see that I select it. And this is just a piece of artwork. And you can see in my sequence view over here, it tells me that it's artwork when I have it selected. With artwork, I could fill it with color. And you can see that it's not stitches, it's just artwork. And this tool is very helpful because once you create an outline shape, you can come down to the bottom. I'm at the very bottom of the screen. You can convert it to different stitch types. So I can make it a running stitch. If I put in 3D view, you can see it's a running stitch. I could do a steel satin border. I could make it a fill stitch. I have a bunch of different options. It starts out by you have to start by utilizing an artwork tool to create your shape. And then once you have your shape, you can convert it to the different types of stitches. Very nice, very handy, very simple to use. You also have your manual stitch. This is a stitch that you won't use too often, but it is a very handy tool. The more you learn about creating designs, the more you will find uses for this, especially if you're creating your own little small detail work, like really small fine detail. What it does is it creates, every time you left click, that's exactly where the needle is going to drop in the design. So everywhere you see that a point is where the needle is going to go up and down. So it's a useful tool. It gives you a lot of control. But like I said, you'll usually use this artwork tool to create your shapes. And you can take this artwork when I right mouse click and you can convert it to a running stitch. And that's what most people will utilize, is a running stitch as opposed to a manual stitch. But it's there and it does have some valuable uses. The artwork, you have like a rectangle or a circle. So if I select this ellipse, which is a circle, if I left click, you can see that I can drag it as a circle or an oval. If I hold down Control keyboard on hold down Control on my keyboard, you can see it'll make a perfect circle. If I let go of Control on the keyboard, then I can make it an oval. But if I hold down Control again, it will become a perfect circle. Just a nice little handy thing. Same thing happens with your rectangle tool. If I don't hold down Control, I can make a rectangle or a square. If I hold down Control, it makes a perfect square. And because this is artwork, I can take this and convert it to any of the stitch types down below. You also have symbols that come with the software. That's this icon right here. These are little designs that you can bring into your design page. So if you wanted to embellish a design you already own, you could add decorative things around it. Like I could take this snowflake, if I left mouse click, it will make it large on the screen, and I can add as many as I want just by clicking. And once I have as many as I want on the screen, all I do is right mouse click and it turns that tool off. So now I have them all. I can move them around. I can do whatever I want with these shapes. And so that's your symbols. And you also have some tools for magic wand. This works with photographs. So when you bring in a photograph, you can utilize these tools, which there'll be lessons on these. You have a text tool. I'm going to open up a new window here. Your text tool, you have regular standard text, you have circular text, and you have vertical text. And there will be lessons on these, but when you click the regular text tool and you left mouse click on the screen, it will load text up, and you have 25 different fonts available. You just type in whatever you want and hit apply, and it will change that. And you could change it to a different font and hit apply as well. So you have text, you have monogram, you have two monogram letter styles that you can choose from, and so that's utilizing the monogram tool. Same idea, you have your letters that you can type in and hit apply, and it will change those. And then you have some other things that come with the software that are very useful, like custom shapes. These custom shapes, all they are is artwork. You select one of them and it brings it in, and once you have it in, you can convert it to any type of a stitch, even applique if you want to turn that into applique. And you'll notice that it gives you a placement stitch, a tack down stitch, and a border stitch. So the custom shapes are great. You have a bunch of different ones to choose from, and you can convert those into stitches. You also have the ability to come right in and load a backdrop that comes with the software. So these are images. If I wanted to bring this image in and do something with it, I could bring it in. If I hit the backdrop tool here, I can even come in and resize it. And you will notice that it is in millimeters right now. If I want to change that, I can right click on my ruler that goes around the design page and go to inches, and you can see that when I did that, it changed it over to inches. So I can make this, let's say, 3 inches wide, hit apply, and it will make it larger. And so I can now do something with this. I could actually create over the top of it. I can utilize my magic wand tool. There will be lessons on that. You also have artwork. And so before I go to the artwork though, I want to show you that because this is an image, and when I say image, I mean it's like a photograph. So there is no objects that show up in the sequence view. I can show you by changing the color of the background to a gray. You'll see that this is an image. So now if I open up a new page and I go to the artwork library, this is all artwork. So I'm going to find that same design. Here it is. But instead of being an image, it is now actual artwork. Just like if I created using the line tool where I was creating shapes, that's exactly what was done here. Is with this butterfly, it now has outlines that are selectable. And so that's the difference between working with artwork and images. Nice thing about it being artwork is that I can convert it right over to stitches. So because I already have those shapes available, and you can see all the shapes in the sequence view here. So that's an artwork library. You can use any of the artwork that you want, bring it in the software, and convert those into stitches. With this software, you also have an auto digitizing wizard, which is a wonderful, helpful tool. So you can take images and have the software automatically convert it to stitches. Now, these are ones that come with the software, but you can bring in other images that you have, and the software will automatically digitize it. So you just run through the wizard to you select it, do your size. Excuse me. There will be lessons on this, so I won't get into it, but you do have the ability to auto digitize a design. You also, I'm going to bring up one of these shapes. You also have in the software a repeat feature. So you can take a design and you can repeat it tell it how many rows and how many rows and columns you want. And you can even do things like flip every other one horizontally, flip every other one vertically, and you can do even spacing between. So you can do a lot with this repeat tool. I love how it functions. You'll be able to create a lot of different things with it. So you also have some editing tools here, which there'll be videos on this. And you do have an auto basting feature as well, that it will put a basting stitch around your entire design. This is really small, so I don't want to do it around it, but let me go ahead and open a design. And with this design open, if I hit auto baste, you will see that it put a basting stitch around. And it also made it the first thing that stitches out, because when you're doing a basting stitch, you want it to do the basting before it does the design. So it is a nice feature. You have a duplicate feature, which is really nice as well. It allows you to select something and duplicate it. So I could take this object right here, this spider, and I can hit the duplicate button. If I left mouse click, it makes a duplicate of it. And I can make as many as I want. And when I right mouse click, it turns that tool off. So it's a really neat feature. You also have the ability to flip something horizontally or vertically. So if I wanted the spider going the opposite direction, I can just flip it. I can even rotate it. And if I select multiples, which I'm going to zoom out a little bit, but if I take a few of these spiders here and I select them, I have the ability to align them all to the left, so now they're basically right on top of each other. Align them to the right, which looks the same. The top, the bottom, I can center them, and I can center them vertically and horizontally, and I can center them to the workspace. But let me go ahead and undo so that they get put back here. So let's go to, oops, grabbed one of those guidelines. Let's select these, and if I go to center them vertically, you can see that it shifted their position a little bit. It's just a helpful tool for helping you align things. And you also have some more advanced editing right here. This works with artwork. Let's see if I have that one open still. I don't think I do. Yes, right here. This artwork. When I create these outlines using this tool, you do have the ability to do things like trim, where it'll trim one over the other. So you can see that. If I undo, see it started as an object that overlapped, and when I use the trim tool, it'll punch one through another. And so it's a helpful tool. I'm going to undo a couple times here. And you do have the ability to weld them together, which makes them become one. And let me go ahead and undo that. And you do have some options for, you just see I can click on one, click on the other. If I select both of them at the same time, I can group them together, so no matter what one I choose, it selects both of them because they're grouped together. I can also ungroup those, so you can see that by ungrouping it, I can select each one individually again. And there are a couple tools right here as well. You can see in my sequence view in this bottom right that I have a circle and a square. If I select both of these by dragging a box over the two of them, I can hit this combine button, and when I hit the combine button, what it does is it basically makes those two items one item. So you can see that in my sequence view it shows up as one object. If I hit undo, it'll go back and you can see that they're two separate again. Let me select both of those again and combine them. You also, so you can see in here, they're combined. You also have the ability to break it up. Instead of going to undo, you can just break it up and it will go back to being two separate objects. It's a tool that's helpful as you get going using the software more. You will be able to see what all you can use that with. Also, you have your selection tools. Like I've been selecting things a lot, and that's utilizing this selection tool. And whenever you click on something, it selects it. You do have the shape edit underneath of it. So the difference with it is it lets you go in and actually modify the outlines. So with that tool, now I can come in and I can click on one of these, we call them points or nodes, and I have the ability to change it if I want to. Just edit that whole shape. And then you have a stitch tool, which you have to have a design open, which I do here. This stitch tool allows you to click and grab one stitch at a time and modify it. So as you can see there, that's your stitch tool. You have your zoom. If I click on the zoom tool, I can just left click and drag over any area I want to see better. Very helpful. And you also have the pan tool built into it. And the pan tool, what that does is, let me go ahead and click it. You can see I have a hand on the screen. I can just click and drag on the screen now to move to a different area. So I don't have to change my zoom at all. I can stay at the same zoom level, but now I can navigate through the design. Let me go back to the zoom tool. If I double click it on this zoom tool, you can see that it will actually bring it to the largest it can be on the screen. You have a ruler. If you click and drag, it'll tell you the distance. Right now it's in inches, so it says the distance I've gone is 0.23 inches. You have a 3D view, which turns the objects to look more realistic. It turns that on and off, so you can see I zoomed in here. If I turn it on, you can see it looks like simulated stitches. You can turn that on and off. Personally, I work with it off most of the time, especially if I'm editing, because I can see each point better and I can see what underlay is used. If I turn this on, you can't see the underlay and it's a little bit harder to edit the design. So it's a personal preference. You can load artwork right into the system. By clicking this icon, you can navigate anywhere on your screen. The grid, I can turn that on and off. As you can see here, I have my grid. Let me change the color of this back to white, because so you can see this grid a little bit better. I can turn that on and off. I can select a hoop. I can turn this one, I just turn the hoop on. I can select which size of hoop and what style I have, and this is done by your machine format. So if you have a Brother Baby Lock machine, that's a PES format that you use with those machines. So under here you will see the different hoops available that you can use, and it will preview that on your screen. And then you have a couple other items right here for closing a shape and turning a backdrop on and off and changing the color of your background. So those are your main tools on the top and on the left hand side. Next, what you have down below are your colors that are used in the design and your thread palette. So you can see down here at the bottom I have a number of colors here, and you'll see this little icon right here that says select thread chart. If I click on that, you will see that what I have is a Floriani polyester thread chart selected. And so it's showing me all the Floriani polyester colors. You see as I hover over one, it says Floriani poly iron rust. I can go over here to the right hand side. I can click these double arrows and it will navigate through these colors. And if I hover over it again, you can see that it says the name of the of the color and the actual color number. And I can search for a color. So if I knew that I wanted the Floriani white, and I know that that is color number 800, I can type in 100 and hit find, and you can see that it will go and find that color. You will notice that above this thread chart you have design colors, and these are the colors that are currently being used in the design. So right now there's a black and a true, like a blue 616. If I wanted to add this white to the design colors, I can right mouse click on that white color and add it to the palette, and you can see it shows up there, because I might want to take this color blue, have it selected here, and this one, and I could left click on the white and it will change the color. And there will be a lesson on working with the thread charts and design colors, but just want to show you really quick. And you will notice that it does tell you what color each object is in this sequence guide. So they're the same as what's listed down here. And the last couple things I want to show you is down at the bottom we have, let's see, I'm trying to bring up a design here. So we have this artwork here. You have these convert to buttons down at the bottom. So this takes any artwork you can see, or even stitch types, but mostly artwork that's created using this line tool or these shapes. You select one of them, and you can turn it into a running stitch, and you can see, if I zoom in, that you see the running stitch that has been created. You can convert it into a motif run. So this puts a motif border around the object that I had selected, and I can change that type of motif that goes around. You can convert it into a steel stitch, which is a satin, defined width satin stitch. So you can see that it puts that satin around it. I'm not going to click on the satin tool because this is too big of an object to be just a satin stitch. Let me click on the fill stitch. You can see that I have a fill stitch in here. I can change the pattern style of the fill stitch so it looks a little bit different. Let me undo that. That was original. I can even change it to a fancy fill. So with the fancy fill, you have patterns that are available that it will stitch out. You do have the ability to turn things into applique, and the great thing with applique is it gives you a placement stitch, a tack down stitch, and a border stitch. And you do have the ability to change the border type from a satin to, let's say, a blanket or to a motif, and there will be lessons on doing applique later. And you have the ability to convert these shapes into cross stitch if you'd like, or right back into artwork. So those are the options you have there. The last thing that I want to show in this getting started lesson is just a little bit more about the sequence view in your properties box. So right now I have this piece of artwork selected down here. When I have that selected, it shows you what your options are. I can fill it with color and hit apply, so you can see that it has color, and I can turn that off. I can resize it. I can do a few different things with it. Like I said earlier, when you convert it into, let's say, stitches, you do have more options available in your properties box. And like I said, we'll get into more lessons with that. But I also want to show you in the sequence view. You can see that right now you have a main color up at the top, and I have a minus and a plus symbol here, so I can hide the contents for that color sequence, or I can bring it out so I can see the different objects. But sometimes you get going through the design, you have a design open that has a lot of them, and it's like you have to scroll a lot, and you just want to see the main colors. You can right mouse click inside of the sequence view, and it gives you options like collapsing all. By collapsing all, it'll take all of these and kind of hit that minus. It's like hitting the minus symbol. So if I hit collapse all, you can see that it cleans it up a little bit. I can select it, I can right mouse click and say expand all, and that will open them all up to see everything that's inside. You have a few other options like grouping, ungrouping, and different things like that. I'm going to go ahead and collapse them. You do have the ability to move things around just by clicking and dragging them. You have to be careful with that because sometimes you'll move things into a position you don't want, but you can move items the order in which they stitch out, because this is the order in which a design will sew out. Everything that you see in the sequence view is the order in which it shows up or gets stitched. So the first thing that would stitch out is actually, because this is artwork, so there's no stitches there, the first thing that would stitch out is right here, this fill stitch, and then it starts going through the design. You can see right here, and it does the different pieces, and so it is the order in which a design stitches out. So that is a basic overview of the software, how it's laid out, where things are located, and I hope that that helps you get a better understanding for the software, what it is, and where things are, and how you will kind of utilize it. And in the next series of lessons, we'll go into more detail about specific features and functions. So hope you enjoyed, hope it helps you get started, and hope that you start creating designs very soon.